Let's get salty!
Everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video. And is Hearthstone in trouble? How many times have we made a video about this? Well, we have some interesting stats to actually kind of back a little bit of stuff up. Of course, it's not perfect data. We'll talk about it, but it's really interesting stuff to go over. There's a lot more positive than I was anticipating. And if you didn't notice, I am dressed up all in some Hearthstone garb. Thank you to Play Hearthstone, a Hearthstone team, for sending me a care package. Got a hoodie, got a beanie, toque, hat, whatever you want to call it, like a water bottle, thermos, whatever Hearthstone one. We could use it maybe in one of our sale videos again. Also, I got a blanket, but if you can tell by this picture, I think Nova has taken that one over. So she thanks you guys for that, but just wanted to thank them because that is extremely generous of them. And also a shout out to you guys. If you feel like you've enjoyed our content, you feel like I've earned your subscription, please hit the subscribe button down below. Give the video a like. We're on the road to 69,420 subs. If you need to know why that's the number, well, it's just kind of nice. I would really appreciate it. So yes, Firestone, they are one of the top deck tracker services out there. There's also Hearthstone deck tracker done by HS Replay, but they put out this tweet. They did this, I think, last year, saying how much Firestone users spent on each game mode along the year. And I'll just use their disclaimer here. This is not at all representative of the whole player base. It's just a fun little retrospective on the player, the app players base. But I think it gives a little bit of an indication of how things have gone. They've done a lot of sponsorships throughout the year, sponsoring a lot of streamers, not me. How dare they? But regardless, you've probably seen their ads. I know they've sponsored like Rarran and Dane and a ton of different people. So their service has probably grown, but let's take a look. Let's take a look, and we'll take a look in a more representative way. They have, you can kind of isolate the data where you can see some scary stuff and also some really good stuff. So starting off early in the year, it's kind of good to see that the beginning of the year was the lowest numbers. Again, the service probably grew a little bit. People started using their app a bit more. And by the way, this is not a sponsored video or anything. Just think the data is interesting. And these graphs, these colors represent different modes. So like Battlegrounds, I could take Battlegrounds out of here. I'll link this below if you want to take a look. But yeah, basically you could see how popular it was. You could take out Ranked Wild, which you could see is not the most popular mode. So you're wondering, why doesn't Wild get all the love in the world? Well, it doesn't traction, at least for these users, even close to, you know, Standard, which Standard back and forth with Battlegrounds, you can see here is the most popular mode throughout the year. But starting off, it was pretty darn quiet. If you take a look, typically every year, Standard rotation is like the busiest time for Hearthstone, and April would have been that time. There's a big spike here where it goes way up, but you'll notice each expansion, the spikes got considerably larger. This is Murder Castle Nathria, which Blizzard said gave them the best traction and like feedback they had had an expansion in years. And a lot of people kind of disagreed with that. Well, at least according to Firestone, it looks like it created quite the big spike. And even when it came all the way back down after the whole Denathrius and Theotar meta, it still stayed a basically pace with the spike from rotation. And then when you introduce a brand new class, you get a lot of new interested people getting a huge spike here. And even now, it still hasn't gone completely down, even going up a little bit into the New Year's, probably holidays. People have more time to play and all of that. But this is actually kind of a really good trend. If you're taking a look at this from Hearthstone's perspective, throughout the years, people have been logging in a bit more. Again, this is not exactly representative of everything. Firestone is like an app that, you know, it has its own player base. It's growing, but you can see the constants though. Let's take away Ranked Standard. Let's take away Battlegrounds, and we take a look at the least popular modes, and we'll just take away everything but Mercenaries PvP, because I said in the title, one mode is completely dead. When you have Mercenaries PvP, it tracks so low. It's unbelievable that the highest peak for the mode in a day is like this amount, 214 hours used by Firestone users in one day. Let's just use that in comparison with a less popular mode. Put that in comparison to Arena. Arena, even when it was, the only time Arena did worse was when they shut down Arena. When it was bugged for that day, you couldn't play it. even Arena, which is not the most popular mode in the world anymore, still tracks way higher. And Mercenaries PvE, which is primarily used by people like me to farm XP by being AFK, tracks well above their competitive mode. So Mercenaries has been a complete and utter bust. It's not a surprise. Most content creators that tried it have moved on. I believe Crimson Panda and Old Guardian make content on it, but there's very few people that have stuck around. Zombies Go Nom Nom, he recently left, and if you look at his numbers, he's enjoying Marvel Snap. And this is another interesting thing to take a look at with the modes, seeing how Marvel Snap has kind of impacted things. And at least according to Firestone's numbers, it doesn't look like Snap has had much of an influence, at least at these numbers. Like nothing's really dipped. The global release for Snap was around, I think, September, October, and everything just went up. It went up, and it's even similar if you take a look at Google Trends. You look at Hearthstone worldwide for the past year, it's been steady. The highest peak was during standard rotation, but you saw a good jump up Murder at Castle Nathri. And again, these numbers, if you take a look at the grand scheme of things, take a look at the past 5 years, the game is definitely, you know, peaked. This is the peak time. This was like 5 years ago when it was like really at its peak, and it's been nothing but on a decline since, but it's really steady. You don't really see it going down. Hell, you've seen it going up. So the people that have been saying like Hearthstone is dying, it's on a huge decline, I don't really see that. I don't see that. I don't see that with my viewership at Hearthstone. I'm a relatively new Hearthstone channel. We've been around for less than 3 years, and we've grown to over 60,000 subscribers thanks to you guys. And although it's not what it was, Hearthstone is not even close to what it was, it does seem to be growing, and they have all these different modes, and Battlegrounds, which didn't even exist not that long ago, is very healthy. You do see though that the spikes really do come in for all content when there's new content, and Battlegrounds has been kind of bleeding since September when they had like the season 2 pass. There was a bit of an update here, but overall they've been really stagnant, and that's kind of a concern when they introduced Runestone, saying one of the main reasons was so they can get more money to monetize Battlegrounds and give them more content than ever. We're still waiting on it, but I think we're gonna get a Battlegrounds announcement soon. The whole patch outline is we should be getting stuff soon. We'll probably talk about that in tomorrow's video, but I just thought it was really interesting to take a look at how things are progressing, because it doesn't seem to be as doom and gloom. The only mode that just seems to be completely lost is Mercenaries. Even let's just take a look at Wild in isolation throughout the year, how it's been progressing. And Wild it looks like it's increased. This probably is more, again, indicative of Firestone gaining popularity, but it certainly hasn't been going down. And I will say, just in terms of like, I guess my own sample size with it, I'm seeing Wild's content creators like Martian pick up numbers, but even myself getting an 11-star bonus. At the beginning of the season, I couldn't get an 11-star bonus with like top 300 legend, but by the end of the season, top 400 was getting it from me. The range of legend players already had doubled in that period of time, meaning there's more people playing, and I'm just seeing that. So it's cool to see that people are sticking around for Hearthstone. There still does seem to be a good amount of interest in a lot of the modes. It is interesting to see a mode, Duels, which was a mode that was really popularized by Firestone. They have these features that no other deck tracker has. You can see it's been kind of stagnant and even dipping with the way Duels has progressed throughout the year. I'm playing it a lot less. I feel like a lot of people are playing it a lot less, and you see it's not climbing like the other modes. So I don't think it's entirely just a Firestone thing. And a mode like Arena, which hasn't seen a ton of spikes outside of rotation and the expansion, because people like me, you know, want to play Death Knight and all that, but you can see it's definitely been really stagnant. The only time you see changes for Arena is when there's any content, you know, added to it, and probably has a lot to do with the free ticket, you know, when the season resets and all of that, when things reset. But overall, I will say, at least by these numbers, Hearthstone doesn't look to be in that bad a shape. We could talk about the meta like we always do, and how like right now it is really not fun, but I will have to say the addition of Death Knight has made it a lot easier, at least for me. I keep playing it, I keep loving it. I'm nearing 1200 wins with the damn class. I hope that the next balance patch really gets things right, so classes like Death Knight can really shine, get back to board-based battles to an extent, and, you know, not blow up right away. So maybe these numbers can go up even more. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day, and stay salty, my friends.